Friends, welcome to the Medical Astrology channel Arsa Medica. My name is Dr. Rahul Kamath, and today we are going to be having a case discussion of a male child who passed away within 1 month of birth. So, this is a case of Arishta Yoga and a case of severe Alpayu. As we will see, as we will discover in the discussion, uh, this is an exceedingly unlucky birth in a sense of astrology, and we intend to discuss this in great detail. Now, before I proceed further, let me just sort of make a few points clear. I'm a medical allopathic doctor, so I totally subscribe to the curative and therapeutic importance of modern medicine. Having said that, this particular patient, for example, that we are going to be discussing today, was a absolutely incurable case for which neither modern medicine nor alternative non-allopathic therapeutic interventions would have done much. Okay, so we do realize that there are factors beyond our understanding as to why and how uh, you know uh, such kind of patients present themselves, and one way of understanding is through the lens of medical jyotish. In the past, even Hippocrates and uh, even Indian Ayurvedic sages, for example, such as Charak and Sushrut, they have uh, always relied on astrology to throw some additional light on this subject, right? So, uh, what we are going to do today is an educational exploration based on the principles of classic Jyotish, and this is one way of understanding and adding an additional dimension to the understanding of medicine. Now, having said that, um let me begin this from the perspective of a regular medical doctor. Now, this patient presents. Uh, this patient was born on the 26th of March 2019 um, at 5:20 p.m. in Nandurbar. The details are on the slide, which is going to come up very soon. Now, even at the time of birth, immediately in the hospital, the patient had severe respiratory distress, couldn't breathe. Okay, and patient went into convulsions. Patient became cyanotic. Patient became blue because basically couldn't breathe, and this whole thing got complication. The patient was on ventilators, very small child. We call it a neonate, and then around this between the 7th and the 15th of April, we don't know the exact date. The patient basically had already gone into coma, followed by basically convulsions and coma, and then the patient passed away. So this is a brief background, right? So I'm showing you this slide now. This is what the history is. I've already told you this patient had extreme respiratory distress, and also what was found on examination was that there was fluid in the lungs. Okay, so patient absolutely couldn't breathe, and then this led to basically a oxygenation issue, what we call hypoxia, and the brain probably did not get any blood supply of oxygen, and the patient relapsed into coma, correct, and subsequent death. Now, before we get into the kundali part of this, let us understand this case from the perspective of the what to look for really. What are we looking for in this case, even before we look at the kundali? Because once we look at the kundali, we find a whole lot of data points. We don't know which is the causative planet. We are searching helter and skelter. We certainly start from the lagna. We do the 6, 8, 12 analysis. We do all that, but we sometimes are still running around in circles. So it is important to know what to look for specifically. And uh, it is said that the eyes cannot recognize what the mind does not know. So we need to know what to look for in this case. So let's let's now dissect this case. Now there is respiratory distress. There was, as we said, there is respiratory distress, which means lungs are involved. Okay. Um, which would certainly point to perhaps a Gemini sign involvement. So we'll keep that in mind for the moment. Gemini will be somewhere involved. Correct? Now, this baby had oxygen issues, couldn't breathe, right? So, again, there will be some problem in Gemini because the lungs probably were not mature enough or something like that. Or there was a block there in the air pipes leading to the bronchi there. So, as I said, Gemini. Now, oxygenation is involved. Now, oxygenation issue, uh, which is the planet which gives life? It is the sun, correct? Sun is the planet. Life on Earth is possible because of the sun. Sun, therefore, would certainly be in some way involved in this situation, in which there is a decompensation, that oxygen is not really reaching the brain here. So that is one aspect of it, right? Now, the baby had convulsions, as the history says. The baby had convulsions. Now, convulsions, which means this is a neurological phenomenon, and convulsions are because of mercury. Okay, so the karaka for convulsions is mercury. So we will have to look at mercury. Okay, now there is fluid in the lungs. So typically, what happened was that the lungs stopped functioning. The patient couldn't breathe. There was fluid in the lungs, what we call pulmonary edema, and then subsequently there was a stoppage of oxygen supply to the brain. Correct? Now leading to coma. Now the fluid in the lungs part indicates the watery element here clearly. Okay, so we are looking at the watery element here. Clearly we are looking at the watery signs 4, 8, 12. Let me also get back to the Gemini again. Gemini being an airy sign. Now the pathology started in the lungs and it led to fluid in the lungs. So it started in the airy part of the lungs because oxygen couldn't get there or air couldn't go there, and then the lungs failed and there was water in the lungs. So you have the watery signs involved. You have the airy signs. We will have to look at 3, 7 and 11. 3 is very clear, but we'll also look at Libra. Okay. Then what happens is that the patient goes into coma. So the moon will be involved, correct? Because somewhere the mind, the person himself, okay, that would be moon. And then of course, as this slide says, that death intervened on between April 7th and 15th, right? So we will look at the other analysis. So broadly with this, we can proceed. One more aspect is that Jupiter is called Jiva. So if somebody's life is at stake in this manner, then this couldn't be possible unless both the benefics would be badly affected. And in this particular case, Jupiter, as we will see ahead, is extremely badly affected. So with this brief background, now I think we know what to look for in this case, right? So let's proceed. Let's proceed to now, with this background, I think you are with me on this. Let's proceed to the Lagna Kundali, the D1 Kundali, and the refinement of that, which is the Navamaush Kundali, D9 Kundali. So both these Kundalis I am presenting to you now in front of you. Now you will see here that in both of these the planets have separate nakshatras, nakshatras are even separately given also in the Navamaush Kundali. So we are doing longitudinal analysis of nakshatras even in Navamaush separately. Okay. Now let's look at the D1 Kundali here. This is a Leo Lagna. Okay. So Leo Lagna, which means basically it is a Sthira Lagna, and therefore the Navamesh is a Badhakesh. Point to note, Navamesh here is Lord of Aries, which is Lord of Mesha, which is Mars here. So Mangal is Badhakesh here. Then we have the Lagna is a Leo Lagna, correct? Now the Lagnesh itself is Sun, which is in the 8th house. Now this is a clear sort of a beginning, first indication that there is something wrong with this person, and we will then realize how severely it is wrong. So Sun here is in the 8th house in Pisces, a watery sign. Okay, and Sun is in the nakshatra of Uttara Bhadrapada. Okay, so Uttara Bhadrapada is a Saturn's nakshatra, correct? So before Revati, Uttara Bhadrapad, it is a nakshatra of Saturn. Now, incidentally, Saturn happens to be the sixth lord here. Okay, the lord of the sixth house is Saturn here, which is in Guru's sign, which is Dhanu in the fifth house, in the nakshatra of Purvashada. Now, Purvashada here is basically Venus nakshatra. So, just point to note, we will get into details a little later. Now, coming back to Ashtam Sthan, the Ashtamesh is what? Naturally, Guru. Ashtamesh is here in Vrushik Ras in the fourth house, and at 29 degrees 52 minutes of Jeshta Nakshatra, which is actually absolute Gandanta point, like 0.5 degrees away from the Jeshta Mula Gandanta, which is a really a extremely malefic Gandanta. So therefore you see Ashtamesh, which is Ashtam being the longevity house, the Karaka of longevity in this case and the Karaka of Jiva is in Scorpio, a watery sign in the fourth house and in extreme Gandanta. And we also have Moon along with Jupiter there. Although it is not conjunct Jupiter, but it is certainly very sufficiently close, and it is also in a watery sign. So it indicates a secondary affliction of the Moon from Jupiter. That is one. Now, so this is one aspect. Now, if you look at the eighth house, from the Bhavat Bhavam perspective, the other house of longevity is the third house, which is Libra here, which is again a airy sign, correct? And the lord of this is Shukra, Venus. Venus is in another airy sign, which is Aquarius in the seventh house, in the Marak Sthana, and Venus is in the nakshatra of Dhanishta, which is a nakshatra of Mars. Now remember, Mars was the Badakesh for this Lagna, correct? So you see the connection there, and also you see that Mercury is placed along with is conjunct Neptune in Purva Bhadrapada. Okay, now this is a very interesting thing I want to discuss. Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra Swami is Guru, Jupiter. So look here, Jupiter is in Gandanta. Okay, Mercury is in the Jupiter's Nakshatra, Purva Bhadrapada. Nakshatra Devata of Purva Bhadrapada is Ajay Ekapada, which is the dancing form of Shiva. Now, the Ajay Ekapada is also, in a sense, a very active, a very vigorous form of Shiva. So, the nature of Mercury here is vigorous. It is like something which is churning. It is dancing. It is the dancing Shiva. So, the convulsion aspect of Mercury can be seen from here. And not only that, Mercury is conjunct Neptune. Now, Neptune basically has been given the status of Varuna, in our ancient this thing. Although we do not strictly use the outer planets in sort of Vedic astrological discussion, but the outer planets certainly should be looked at from a little bit from a medical astrology perspective. I do believe that, because medical astrology is a fusion of not only traditional Hindu astrology, but also elements from Western astrology, which certainly are required. There is work done by people like Dr. Cornell, in his famous Cornell's Encyclopedia, where you realize the role of Neptune and Uranus and Pluto as well. Okay, coming back to this, Mercury and Neptune are conjunct here in Purva Bhadrapad, and Neptune being Varun is a Asura, remember. In the end, Varun is a Asura. So, it's in some sense malefic. Okay, so this is one analysis here. Now, let's look at now point to note, there is Gulika in the 12th house in Karka. Again, the watery triangle. So, in the watery trinity, 4, 8, 12 is running from H12, H4, H8. Okay, so of these, the two houses, 12th house and the 8th house are part of the Triksthanas, right? And we already discussed the 6th house, which is again the lord of which is Saturn. Saturn is with Ketu in the 5th house. Now, 5th house is what? Sanchita Karma is Purva Punya, is Sanchita Karma. It's also um, past life considerations. So Saturn Ketu sitting in the past life there, again with Pluto almost conjunct with Ketu, almost conjunct Ketu, and also within 3 degrees of Saturn. Now Pluto has been given the status of Yama in mythology, okay, or the head, or basically the it is the he is the lord of the underworld, Hades, correct? So uh, we find the past life connection here very strong, that the Shashtesh is in the Pancham Sthan, completely affected with Ketu. Now on the opposite side of Ketu is Rahu. Now look here, Rahu is where? Rahu is in the Bhavat Bhavam house of the 6th house, which is the 11th house, and Rahu is in Gemini, which is the Aries sign signifying lungs. So this is a very detailed analysis of the birth chart, in my opinion, from the perspective of um, this case. Now let's go to the Navaus to find support for what we have been talking about. Now here you notice that Saturn and Venus are conjunct in the 2nd house, again in the watery sign which is Scorpio. Saturn being Shashtesh, Venus is in a sense Ashtam, Pratyashtamesh, you can say. So they are both together. Uh, Again, doesn't augur that well. You have here Sun in the Lagna, debilitated. Look here, the Sun is debilitated, so it's a further blow to the Sun's status. From D1 already it is in Ashtam Sthan, Lagnesh in Ashtama. Now here it is debilitated in Libra in the 1st house in ascendant, and it is in Nakshatra of Swati. Swati is Lord being Rahu. Rahu's placement in D1 is in Gemini. So you see that. And again Rahu's placement in D9 also is Gemini. So Rahu is Vargottam. So Rahu is very potent in Gemini. And we will see this aspect little bit much more in detail when we study the Dreshkaunsh's chart much later. We'll study that in the subsequent slides. Okay. Now, point to note is, Moon and Mars are together here. Mars is very strong. Okay, so it indicates the strength of the Badhakesh, and it is with Moon. Okay, now Jupiter, the most important finding from this, from the D9, which is almost frightening, and which is like almost like a horror movie, is that Jupiter is in Pisces, almost 29 degrees Revati. Absolute Gandanta point of Revati and Ashwini, end of Pisces. It is in Gandanta in Scorpio in D1, as we've said. So this actually shows us the maleficity of Jupiter. And one more point to note is that we have a Shadashtak Yoga between Sun and Jupiter in the D9. So this is very revealing. That means the Lagnesh and the Ashtamesh are both in extreme distress, extreme trouble, and they are also with respect to each other not very well placed. Okay, so this is my analysis of D1 and D9. Um, okay, and you will find here that again the Lagna in D9 is Libra, again the Aries sign. So you see those connections again resonating again and again. Okay, so these are some of the important observations. This is a slide but probably not really required. We already covered this in exquisite detail. Okay, these are some of the few observations, but I have actually discussed much more than what is written here. Okay, so with this now, let us now proceed to the most exciting slide in my opinion, and I want to now go to the core of it, core of the disease. can we localize the disease? Can we exactly see where it started? Can we see how the 6, 8, 12 lords are connected with the origin of the disease in the lungs? Can we see the disease actually in the chart? We have been able to identify the planets involved. We saw that Sun, Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, Mars all contribute. Rahu Ketu. All of everything, everybody contributes in this whole tragedy. Okay. Uh, the dramatis personae are all the 7 planets here. But let us look at the location of the disease.